this is a reopening story. There were expectations, I think, at the nadir of the March lows that we were looking at an economic depression here in the United States, and that the consumer, which has really driven economic growth here in the United States over the last decade, but particularly in the last couple of years, was going to be downtrodden through the end of the year. And I think what's happened here is you have two things. You have the Fed cutting rates to zero and essentially making stocks once again the only alternative. And two, we do have this enthusiasm that there will be significant pent up demand of US consumers that will continue to create an economic recovery in the back half of the year. And so, despite the fact that we have little to no transparency on earnings and no way to tell whether stocks are cheap or expensive, I certainly think they look expensive. We know this rally could certainly continue over the course of the next couple of weeks, but we do see some headwinds on the horizon.
Right, and that's a very important point that you highlighted, earnings versus valuations, and that debate is an ongoing one and a heated one at that. Shannon, do want to understand from you, how much do quarter two earnings matter for the market now? Because, come July, we're going to be hit by a number of companies saying quarter two was bad, but we've been talking about a bad Q2 since February, since March of this year. And so do you think the focus will squarely be in that earnings season about commentary for Q3, because the data in and around that quarter is limited, the understanding is limited?
Absolutely. And, the SEC has essentially allowed companies over the course of the first and second quarter to throw out all of their guidance with no retribution whatsoever. So I continue to think that the second quarter is going to be a complete throwaway from an earnings perspective. You're looking for that commentary. And certainly what we do expect, especially for companies that release slightly later in the earnings season, that they would have some meaningful data about how the third quarter was starting. And I think that that will be more important for expectations to be set by investors, particularly on the sell side, because the sell side is just struggling right now to figure out where they should set their price targets. I think that that will be really critical for those earnings reports. But no, the second quarter, from an economic perspective, from an earnings perspective, at both the macro level and the corporate level, nobody's expecting anything good, and everybody is going to take advantage of that in putting forth their results that don't really matter in this time period.